It is Tuesday, February 25th, and I'm back on PuckTime. Good to be back here with the boys, Carmine and Lawrence Presman. We've got 3 games to break down, props to get to, team totals, sides, everything, you name it, here on the busy Tuesday NHL slate. And it is also $5 Tuesday, as it is every single Tuesday here at WagerTalk.com. Also, right now, get 10 days for the price of 7. So all kinds of great deals going on at the website. Carm, I finally sort of got my voice back after like 5 days of drinking tea. It's good to be back here in the office. Good to be back here on Puck Time with you, man. How are you?
5 days of drinking tea, which was caused by the fact that you probably spent 4 days of drinking nonstop alcohol with CT bets. On the East Coast, watching Canada, of course, beat the US in the finals. You had great seats and looked like you had a great time. You got to meet Crosby's mom, I heard. Maybe you'll elaborate on that
Please
throughout the
don't.
show or right after this. But Prez, just stop. Some news coming out of the NHL before we get to these games. And I talked to Lawrence about this last night. I was at a poker tournament with the Prez, who finished fourth, but I'm sure he'll tell you that. I
Nope, he
heard on
won't.
the radio heading to the game um, that Matthew Tkachuk could very well miss the rest of the NHL season, and and depending on how this injury progresses with him, it could also miss the playoffs. So this was my point heading into that Four Nations tournament. Listen, I enjoyed it more than anybody else, or as much as anybody else. I thought it was absolutely some phenomenal hockey. Canada and U.S. in the finals. They played 2 great games, but my fear was a team. If you're a fan of a team, how do you feel now? If you're a fan of the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers, that one of your best players could be gone for the rest of the NHL season, or end up on the Tampa Bay made famous LTIR that Vegas took as well too. Prez, you're not a Matthew Tkachuk fan. I don't know why. You're not a Florida fan. I don't know why, but it was great seeing you last
I
night. Welcome to the show. And just before you go, we're going to talk about the Leafs and Bruins, Rangers and Islanders, a Battle of New York, and then we're going to finish it with Detroit and Minnesota, another good one with playoff implications.
okay. There you
All
go.
right.
So, firstly, I love Matthew Tkachuk. He's my kind of player through and through. Big fan of the whole Tkachuk clan. It's sad that he's injured. I pointed out that that was literally going to happen in the Four Nations Cup. And alas, like always, when it comes to hockey, boom, 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 yawn. I'm right. Anyway, whatever the case may be, he'll be back for the playoffs. Don't worry. They now have cap space. They'll trade for Sid or some big player, and then they'll bring Matthew back in the playoffs. Be $15 million over the cap. And alas, the rules allow for it, so be it. And I'm not upset about it. Why don't the Leafs do it? Like, kudos to Florida. They're now going to be able to get themselves a superstar and stack their roster for the playoffs. With that said, who knows what's going to happen? It is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and wallow in Matthew Tkachuk's bad luck. Dude is a multi-gazillionaire and gets to play hockey for a living. He wins. Fun night hanging with you last night, Carm.
Yeah. I had no action on the game, but we were gripped while playing poker,
Oh, yeah.
watching the
Yeah.
Winnipeg Jets and San Jose Sharks. This is why it's not good for your heart. This is why you don't lay juice like minus. I think Prez said it closed at 500. Can you imagine that you ended up with a win unless you took them in regulation? But the Winnipeg Jets, San Jose just played them into the ground, kept them at bay for 59 plus minutes, and just couldn't hold on for that little bit more. One of the defensemen fanning on his shot to get it out of his own zone as well too. get it down the ice, chop some seconds off that clock. But man, Andrew, did you catch any of that game at all before we get into this first one?
I tuned in for the final 5 minutes, so it was great. I texted my buddy. I was like, "Is the minus 450 going to go down?" And I tuned in for the game, and of course, the favorite ends up winning in OT. So I swear that stuff happens a lot, guys, with those big prices. It's like it's why Johnny will or Ralph will tell us like about those stats with these teams, like on the puck line or regulation, like or even the money line, the juice. It's just not worth it for how many times you have to win versus if you're playing all these big plus prices, you just need to hit one every now and then. But the San Jose Sharks are so interesting because they'll do that every now and then to their fan base. Like they'll compete with one of the league's best, and then last minute they just choke it away. So that's what they do out there. I saw that going into the game yesterday, Winnipeg was league worst, minus 68 goal differential, and Winnipeg was a league best plus 68 goal differential. So quite a bit different when it comes to those teams. But you got to tip your credit. I keep on saying this, San Jose, as far as one of like the bottom 5 teams and the bad teams in the league, one of the more fun teams to watch, and they're doing the rebuild the right way. I wouldn't be shocked, guys, if San Jose is decent in a handful of years. And just a quick point, I know we got to get to the games, but I wanted to mention my 2 cents on the whole injury thing is that as much as I can't speak for you guys, but as hockey advocates, I love the fact that we don't have players like Joel Embiid that have, missed half of their whole career by sitting on the sidelines. But if anybody is on the load management side of things for hockey, which I don't think there are many people like that, and I've talked to certain people about how, hey, a hockey player would have to have their leg taken off to miss the Stanley Cup playoffs. Well, one thing that we're seeing is Matthew Tkachuk got a Stanley Cup ring. Nobody will ever take away the fact that he has won the Stanley Cup. But if he was not in the Stanley Cup finals during that run that he had, he shouldn't have been playing. Like those guys, he played like 2 whole series where he was injured, could barely even tie his skates, those guys were saying. And then he's on the bench, in that game against Canada in the finals. Yeah. Some people were saying he shouldn't even have been out there. But then the coach said, even if he can't be on the ice, we want him out there for moral support on the bench talking to us. He played, I think, like 7 minutes in that game. So as much as I'm an advocate for, I love how tough these hockey players are and how they'll play when anything, is going on and going wrong with them. It kind of goes to show that, hey, maybe longevity wise, it does hurt these players because you see a lot of players like Shea Weber for the Montreal Canadiens, or he was a Montreal Canadian. He has not played a game since that bubble COVID run. Carey Price hasn't played a game since that COVID bubble run. So, I think that injury for Tkachuk doesn't just date back to this recent tournament. It dates back to the Stanley Cup they won.
Either way, Florida should... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just saying,
you're the guest.
Florida should be furious. And frankly, one of these teams should sue. You're our property, or we pay you. You go and you water ski in the summertime and break your leg. What an irresponsible thing for Matthew Tkachuk to do. What an irresponsible...
It was an NHL tournament, though.
And selfish.
Well, with that said,
they won't win in court. But I would be pretty pissed off. And just for the record, it was very selfish of him. People will say, "Oh, he was putting the team first." The wrong team. His team is the Florida Panthers. Anyway,
with that said, guys, and we will see this type of a tournament every 2 years because they will have a World Cup and rotating World Cup and the Olympics every 2 years. So you'll see a World Cup, Olympics, World Cup, Olympics every 2 years. But getting to this first game, Toronto and Boston. Prez, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Leafs opened up minus 130. They've taken some money overnight. They're minus 150. Looks like it's going to be Stolarz in a goal. He got the win against Carolina 6-3. Swayman in goal for the Bruins, likely plus 130 for them. Total sits here at 5.5. minus 30. Leafs 2-1 on the season. The home team's won all 3 games in this series. 2 of them have gone over the total. And that's where I'm leaning here. This isn't the same typical Bruins team that we've seen over the years that kind of holds over Toronto. I think it is changing now. The Leafs have always had, I think, more talent than the Bruins. The Bruins just play a better style of hockey when they get to the playoffs and normally knock off the Leafs. But I think we're seeing a changing of the guards between these two, if we haven't already seen it. Even though that went 7 games last year, I think the Leafs proved they can win in Boston. Can they do it tonight, Prez?
No, maybe. Who knows? I don't like the side in this game. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm not betting on Boston. This is a team that is a fade team moving forward, a team that is going to not make the playoffs, and a team that's lost 3 games in a row. I don't want to bet the Leafs tonight, though, Carm, because I don't think it's a good spot for the Leafs. Obviously, they always do get up for Boston. But I just, they've won 2 since they got back. And this just feels like a letdown game for Toronto. And I don't want to play against Boston after they've lost 3 in a row, although I don't think they're a good team. They're a veteran team, and they're a team that I don't think will go on extended losing streaks. I do think they will lose, maybe 2 out of every 3.5 games. But I don't think they're going to lose 4, 5, 6 in a row on a regular basis. I like the over in this game, Carm. You look at this Boston team, and I think Boston is going to play to the over for the rest of the year. Swayman is not having a good year, and right now they just let in 3, 4, and 3 goals in their last 3 games. And prior to that, they did hold Minnesota to 0, but the Rangers put up 3, Winnipeg put up 6, Buffalo put up 7. This Boston team cannot stop teams from scoring. And although Toronto has a great defense and great goaltending, I think they're still going to allow roughly 2.5 goals a night. 5.5 is too low here. I like the over in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see 7.
Yeah, Andrew, I'll go to you on this one. I agree with the Prez. As I said, I like the over in this game. I don't want to play the Leafs at the elevated price of minus 150 on the road against a team that has had their number more than a few times in the past. I think they've gotten over that as far as the aura of not being able to beat the Bruins at TD Garden. What are your thoughts on this one? And Stolarz or Joseph Woll? I'm going to throw that one to you as well too. It's showing Stolarz is going to start. Who's the number 1 goalie here, Andrew, for this team moving forward?
I think it's Woll. I think it's Woll, and I think it's because of the injuries that Stolar dealt with. I think that you got a guy like Woll that played so well. I don't think they're going to just ultimately flip the script back and just say, okay, you're the second guy up now. Very curious to see, but I think every team needs a number 1. Every team needs to know who that number 1 is, but it's okay to have a 60-40 split. It's very healthy for both those goalies to have that and for them to be very rested. And speaking of rest, when I look at handicapping these games, guys, when I looked at handicapping them on Saturday, I passed on Sunday. We made money yesterday. I'm not looking at anything to do with really that many recent games. I'm kind of looking at this as like a reset for at least the first couple games for these teams. A team that was playing bad forgot how bad they were. Teams that were playing good forgot how good they were doing before. The break was like a week and a half. So I can't really look at something that a team did a week and a half ago and use that for my handicapping for this game or some of these games today. We'll use that moving forward on a large scale with some stuff we're going to look at. But I feel like right now I got to look at short scale. And for me, I couldn't agree more with what everybody's saying about how the Boston Bruins are going to end up selling. They're going to end up missing the playoffs. I regret how much I brought it up to Carm, and we talked about it, that this team, the Bruins, at one point were minus 130 to make the playoffs. Then they were minus 130 to miss the playoffs, and I never jumped in. But as of right now, they're coming off a handful of games that were only 1-goal losses. But that last game against Anaheim, which was the one that was out of the break, was an OT gut puncher. And I feel like this is a game they're going to respond with. I think I like the Bruins tonight, but I don't like them moving forward. I just like the plus 130 here. I look for this series to get evened up. We've seen 2 of the 3 games go over as stated. I like the plus 130. I like the bounce back situation. And also, I know that Brad Marchand didn't play a huge factor on the Team Canada. And not everybody agrees with this theory, but the facts don't lie. If you look at every single team that played their first game that had a key player or an older player from Team Canada, they lost. It was a great day for underdogs. A great day for fading certain teams. Nathan McKinnon, they lose in the first game back. Edmonton, they lost on the first game back. Sidney Crosby wasn't an underdog. They lost in their first game back. So anybody saying that fading these players and teams,
so Mitch Marner,
it was wrong.
Mitch Marner didn't lose, but he's not old enough, I guess, even though he's roughly the same age as Nate McKinnon.
Units wise,
I heard this nonsense yesterday on WagerTalk today.
I heard your nonsense too. And I disagreed with it. I heard your nonsense. How many people bet Edmonton on Saturday?
Gets up. How many people bet Toronto? It's just you're picking a narrative. You're picking a narrative that isn't there, and it's okay. It's okay, Andrew. No. It's okay.
Your example was a pick'em. Your example was a pick'em. That's the difference.
Oh,
I'm talking
Jesse
about
didn't
underdog.
come up. Jesse did not. You are telling me about my nonsense yesterday. Yes, you said you listened to my nonsense yesterday.
Well, you
Jesse
said the
did
nonsense
not get.
yesterday.
Yeah, Jesse did not get on the
What
show
did I
and
miss?
say
What am I
all
missing here?
favorites. Jesse did not get on the show and say all favorites by minus 160 and up with guys over the age of 29 who didn't get laid in the last week lost. He said all players who played in the final game lost. And that's bullshit.
Well, Fred,
Connor Hellebuyck won. Mitch Marner won. There are so many players that won.
It's pretty easy for you to sit here and say that. Yeah, they all didn't lose. That's a bold take. That's the hottest take of the day. Every player didn't lose. Obviously, they all didn't lose.
The thing about
That's
yesterday,
crazy. Not all going to lose.
They didn't. It was probably half and half, Andrew. It wasn't like 1-1. It wasn't like one guy won. You had the goaltender for the U.S. team win his first game after the so-called reset. You had Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. Jesse didn't say that yesterday. Jesse didn't say Team Canada. Jesse said the players. You told me that what I said yesterday. You told me what I said yesterday was bullshit.
Guys,
you said what you said yesterday was bullshit.
Hey guys,
yeah, what you said, because you said the whole first game after the break thing mattered.
Show this morning. Anyways, you know about the thing about yesterday? It was yesterday. Today is today. Come on, let's get on with it.
I think however Jesse got there, his play won 5-2. So he gave out a money line play where the guy won 5-2. So who cares?
Anyway,
give me the Bruins.
So, anyways,
Prez,
if we can also get there.
All right, we're good. I'm just saying we could have different opinions, and the whole point is not every side. I think it worked for certain teams, like Connor McDavid scoring the game-winning goal. That example.
Oh, so now it's certain. Now it's certain teams. Okay, no.
Okay,
problem.
I was trying to be a nice guy because I'm the fucking guy 25 years younger than you.
Lawrence,
I was trying to be the bigger man, but I guess not.
You are the bigger man. You're like 6'8".
All right. Let's cut these mics off. To quote your former co-host on WagerTalk today, without differing opinions, there is no market. So let's just keep it at that. Teddy Covers was right in that one. And let's see if you can be right in this one, Prez. New York Rangers, New York Islanders, minus 110 both ways. It is, as far as the book considers, a coin flip. The total sits here at 6. It looks like it's going to be Shesterkin. Sorokin is confirmed for the New York Islanders. I'm not really sure why I put this game on this list, other than the fact that it is the Battle of New York and two teams battling for playoff spots. 8 teams within 7 points of those 2 wild card spots, the 7th and 8th place right now. And if the Pittsburgh Penguins win tonight, that'll be another team within striking distance of that 8th seed. Prez, where are you going with this one?
Carm, my original plan was to play the Rangers. I played them on Saturday. They did not show up. Holy moly. Buffalo whooped them. And then I came back on Sunday with the over in the Rangers game, which ended up being the right pick. And they did win that game, although, my God, did Pittsburgh ever dominate them. This Rangers team has played 2 horrible games in a row, and I'm now going to maybe back away from the Ranger train for a second here. Where I'm going to go in this game is to take the over. You have the Rangers just scored 5 goals on Pittsburgh. Not that that's some kind of, amazing feat. I think a lot of teams are going to score 5 goals on Pittsburgh. Frankly, I'll give you a 2-for-1. Take Pittsburgh and Philadelphia over as well. I like the over in this game. The Islanders defensively have just completely fallen apart. They just let Dallas put up 4. Minnesota put up 6 on them. And for Minnesota to put up 6 goals on anybody, horrible. Winnipeg just put up 4. Florida put up 6. This game is a 6. I think we're going to see a high-scoring game here, similar to their last game, 5-2 for the Rangers. I think we're going to get a minimum of 7 goals. I like over the total.
Andrew, I said I have, it's one of those weird things where I normally put games on that I know I'm going to have an opinion on the show on, but I'm not going to lean back in the old and the legendary Dave Koken way and with my arms behind my head and say, I have no opinion on this game. The Islanders, I think 23 or 24% of their games this season have gone to overtime. Hence the phrase, the Thailanders. This seems like a game that could very well go to overtime between these two teams that are scrapping out for points and need them. And it's plus 300 for this game to go to overtime. So I'm going to throw a pizza slice because I like my pizza. There will be no pineapple on it. Yes, I'm going to get right back into that. No pineapple on my pizza. A slice on the Thailanders and the Rangers to share the points tonight and someone to come out on top in overtime. I'll take the plus 300 here.
I love it. You know what? It's time for us to start mentioning those more, Carm. So why not start today? I like that a lot. I know actually, Prez, you've mentioned a couple of those, I think, on the Wager Talk today. This is the time of year where these matter. And I think for these interdivisional matchups, for these teams vying for playoff spots, those type of bets, they matter. And, Carm, sometimes you look at certain games and you look at the odds and you think to yourself, wow, this Rangers team at one point in time, you'd think they would have been like big favorites against the Islanders or at least decent sized favorites, home or away. But not here, getting practically a pick here on Long Island for New York here. And I'm interested in taking the Islanders in this one. And I know this might sound funny for some people, but I kind of like the fact that their first game back from the break was on Sunday. They lost it. And they're playing here only a couple days later. It's going to be really, really motivated. And you look at the Rangers here, they cruise to victory over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Their first game back was a smooth winner, right? And I think that when you look at this game for the Islanders, this game means a hell of a lot. They're still chasing that playoff. I think a lot of people really thought that the New York Rangers were absolute shoo-in for that playoff spot, that second wild card position. Hell, they could even make that first wild card position. It's still up for grabs. It's anybody's game at this wild card spot. And I think the New York Islanders are about to mess with it a little bit, take away that spot from the New York Rangers. And these games really do matter. But I think based on the price I'm seeing, I want to take the home team. The New York Thailanders, hey, hopefully they get the job done in overtime. We can all be happy. But give me the Islanders to get the job done at home in this one.
I like it, Andrew. I like that play. So let's see what happens in today's game. Should be a good one. There are so many good games on the slate tonight, and we're going to get to one shortly. But before we do, it's been 2+ weeks since you have fired off some prop bets and you had a very good Four Nations face-off tournament in general. You picked up something like 15, 16 units on that. So congratulations to you on that. Give us some prop play winners.
Carm, I appreciate that. It was nice head office to make that package for us. It was $59 for the full tournament. And we earned 15 units for hockey clients and for all access clients, for anybody that joined us on that. So that was awesome. For people that like the tournament, that watch the tournament, or just wanted to make some money, picking up 15 units, despite it being kind of a quieter time in the NHL, was really, really exciting for me. That deal I want to promote right now, obviously $5 Tuesday, but $10 days of plays for the price of $7 is a really good one right now, available at WagerTalk.com. The first play we're going to give out here is Evan Bouchard from the Edmonton Oilers to record an assist at -110. I love this price here because you know what? His point prop is -145. Evan Bouchard doesn't score that many goals, guys. He is a passer. He is a guy that gets assists. He's out there quarterbacking the power play with McDavid, with Draisaitl. I've really kind of fallen in love with these assist bets in the NHL just based on getting the price down to a really good number. Edmonton did not look good in their first game back, and they certainly didn't look good in their second game back. 2 tough games for them. Tonight, I feel good about them in their game, but I also feel good about Bouchard to get at least 1 assist at -110. All right, we have Seth Jarvis from the Hurricanes. He was on Team Canada, over 2.5 shots on goal. Gotta love this price here. You're getting +125 and over 2.5 shots on goal. He has hit this in head-to-head 4 straight games, 4 straight meetings against the Montreal Canadiens. I look towards head-to-head, and I look towards opponent rankings. Right now, we can't look towards last 3 or 4 games for player props because these guys haven't played the last 3 or 4 games in the NHL since 2 weeks ago, right? So we can't look at that. Got to look towards head-to-head rankings. Seth Jarvis, 4 straight games, Carm. This guy plays well against my Canadians, and the +125 price is always nice because you know that bid can be so annoying with player props. So 2 plays for me tonight in the prop market: Bouchard to get an assist, and Jarvis over 2.5 shots on goal. All right, Carm, start things off for us with our next one, our last one, Detroit and Mini.
So one, Andrew, opened up at 145. Minnesota dropped to 120, +100 on the Red Wings. Looks like it's going to be Gustafsson and Talbot in goal. Speaking of in goal, Detroit announces they are moving Ville Husso. Johnny Detroit, a season ticket holder, actually called the Detroit organization and said he would drive Husso to the airport. You know that Johnny's pulling up in an Escalade, one of those gas guzzling Escalades. Johnny's a man's man, Lawrence. He doesn't pull up in a Tesla. He has a set of stones. Give me your thoughts on this game.
That seems like a major political statement against Donald Trump, President Trump, and Elon Musk. I'd like to make a public service announcement. Carmine does not reflect the opinions and values of WagerTalk. So anyway, just wanted to get that out there. So you want my opinion on Minnesota versus Detroit. This is the game you chose, and I understand it. It is a game that has playoff implications. I got nothing, though. Sorry, that's take the over in the Pittsburgh-Philadelphia game.
That's it. That's all you have for us. You have nothing on this game.
I said whatsoever. I have correct. Carm, we are asking people to place their hard-earned money on our thoughts. If I don't even have a 1 out of 100 opinion on this game, and I'm not going to make it up. Take the over in the Philadelphia-Pittsburgh game. John Madden, Prez, do your job. John Madden says, okay, John, Prez, do your job. Okay, I really like Minnesota tonight. I would bet it all on Minnesota tonight, guys. I mean, this team, minus 120 at home, 34-19 on the year, playing against a Detroit team that is, just beat Anaheim 5-4. Really now got to feel pretty fat and sassy after beating that Anaheim team 5-4 in overtime. They got to feel so good about themselves. They're going to fly to Minnesota. They're going to eat like a steak meal, get really heavy in the gut, not be able to play. Minnesota, are you kidding me? This team is dominant. They've won 3 in a row. They can't stop scoring. They just beat Detroit, for Christ's sake, in Detroit. Sounds like free money if they're now playing in Minnesota as a head-to-head. 2-0 against Detroit in their last 2 games. Free money on Minnesota minus 120. Mic drop. There you go.
I love it, Prez. I love it. That was improv.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Prez. He'll be here all week. Try the veal. Don't forget to tip your server. Andrew, give me your thoughts on this Detroit-Minnesota game. I see a reversal of that game that they played in Detroit. Mini had no right winning that game. You can look at the shots on goal and say, yes, they were like 39-30 for Minnesota. But I don't think shot counts should really come into it when both teams are above 30 shots on goal. Mini gets a late one to send it to OT and then wins it in OT. Detroit's got to be a little tidier in that third period, especially late in games. We saw it happen against Anaheim as well, too, although they did collect the full points in that one. Because one of the tiebreakers, Andrew, as we know, we saw last year, is regulation wins. So while you pick up the 2 points in overtime, you want those regulation wins because they are important come playoff time. And I think Washington last year, who squeaked in a minus 40 in goal differential, had more regulation wins than I think Pittsburgh did. So had it come down to those teams being tied instead of 1 point apart, Washington, I think, would have still gotten in. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to take Detroit at even money here. Maybe see if any mini money comes in where I can snag a little plus 105 or plus 110. What are your thoughts?
Carm, we're a little head-to-head, I think, here. And this one, I've tweeted out a free play on Saturday with Minnesota plus 110. It was looking pretty garbage the whole entire game. And then just step by step, Minnesota comes back and then ends up winning it in overtime there. And we saw them go from plus 110. And as you mentioned, now the price being minus 120 favorites here at home. Minnesota is a good home team. Minnesota, good defensive team, which is why I do like it when they get the last change. Some teams does not matter to me. Some teams it is really important for them to be at home and get the last change. I think that when you win a game like they won, but you didn't exactly play your best, they're going to be super sharp. So sometimes, like let's say Minnesota would have won 5-1 in the game on Saturday over Detroit. Maybe I wouldn't be motivated to take Minnesota in this one again because I'd be like, okay, you know what? They're feeling so good about themselves. They're going to take this one easy again. But I don't think they're going to take it easy because they didn't play well in their last game against Detroit. They were lucky to win that game. And of course, that was the only game that Minnesota has played since the break. But Detroit has played 2 games. And to Prez's point, hey, congratulations to them. You go ahead and you beat the Ducks in overtime. I tip my cap to them. But I'll stand on this. Detroit has been a good team over the last little while. A huge part of that process was because of their new coach that they hired. They rode that wave for, it felt like, 3.5 weeks. I still don't think Detroit's making the playoffs. I still don't think they're a top-level team. And I think that we're going to get good spots to fade them. This is one of those spots, and I think that when you go through their schedule, when you look at their win against Calgary, when you look at their win against the Canucks, their win against the Kraken, they've looked good against a lot of teams that they should be beating. I think Minnesota's undervalued here, so I'll take them at home to get the job done. So it's always interesting when teams go head-to-head against the same team twice in a short period of time. So we'll see what happens here tonight on a Tuesday night. Jam-packed slate here on a Tuesday night in the NHL. And, of course, guys, $5 Tuesday. Prez, Carmine, myself, all of us have one play available for $5. But, again, I still think that best deal available right now is to get 10 days for the price of 7, throwing in a few extra days for you guys. All sports, college basketball, NBA, NHL, soccer, UFC, MLB exhibition, whatever it might be. You're going to get all of that in that package, 10 days for the price of 7, Carm.
As you mentioned, it is a great deal. Head over to the site. You can pick up as many cappers as you want on that $5 customer appreciation deal. There's some great promos within it as well, too. And with that said, we'll go to the Prez so we can get him going and ready for his show at the top of the hour, WagerTalk TV. Don't forget to tune in. Prez, what do you have up at WagerTalk on $5 customer appreciation day? And give us a show best bet.
You got it, my brother. Firstly, thanks so much for having me. I really love doing this. And even though, Andrew, you and I, or me, started with you earlier in the show, I think you're amazing. And I'm thrilled that you are part of a WagerTalk. So with that said, I have a really strong NHL play up tonight for my customer appreciation, $5 play. To give you guys perspective, I'm up double-digit profits in NHL this season. I just won my last 2 plays on Sunday. I passed Monday. So I'm on a 2-0 run, but I'm also on a 28-14 run. My play tonight is a 4% total. My totals are unbelievable. Right now, I am on a 6-1, 9-2, and 27-9 totals run. And I am 53-24 my last 77 totals. Guys, this is as strong a bet as you will get from me. It is a 4%. 90% of my plays are 3% plays. This is a big play. It's only $5. Please take advantage of that. As for my best bet, I really, really like the Leafs and Boston to go over the total tonight. That is my best bet for the show. We spoke about that earlier on, and I am going to put a small wager on that myself. Lots of love to everybody in the chat room, including you, Timothy Hawk, who think I ruin every show I'm on. We'll see you guys at 12 o'clock Eastern time on WagerTalk today. Carmine and Andrew, I love you both. Thanks for having me.
Great stuff, Prez. Take care.
Right. Always great to have the Prez. Kind of like when you run into your ex, Andrew. It's good to see them, but you're glad that they are gone. Anyways, with that said, $5 $5 customer appreciation. I have an afternoon EPL game. Just soccer has been absolutely phenomenal over the last since 2025. If we're looking at the current year, just some great numbers. A couple of winners yesterday as well too. One play up, you get it for $5 with some promos. I have a 5% play up in the NHL tonight. That's not part of the $5 customer appreciation, but you can get that as well too on my page. And as far as my show best bet, actually I have a promo up. I just want to mention this promo because Melissa at the office put it together. You can get the next 30 days of soccer and NHL combined for $189. That's normally those two combined are $368, $199 and $179 or $169. So it's a great deal on that. 30 days of soccer and hockey for $189. Andrew, my free play is going to be in the Buffalo Anaheim game. I'm going to go with the Sabres over. This I have cashed a couple 5% plays on Sabre overs, and I have had to take those plays down on the site because the number has steamed. This one is at 6, and I think it's going to stay at 6 because it's Anaheim coming tonight. But the Sabres, the number one team as far as over-unders go at 31, 15, and 7. Most profitable team to the over. And at home, their last 10 games, 8-1-1 to the over. Give me the over 6 in this one. The Sabres are scoring goals right now, and let's see if they can keep it going against the Anaheim Ducks.
All right, Carm, I like it, and good luck on that big play today. Let's cash. Let's make some money across not just the NHL, but on the pitch as well. $5 customer appreciation play for me today. As an NHL play that I really, really do like, guys. So don't miss out on that one. Usually $25. And I have a play I really like for tomorrow that might be a big bet. So make sure you guys tune in for that and stay on the lookout for my page at wt.buzz/am. Carm, I talked about that my handicapping is going to be a lot about just the first couple games out of the break for these teams, not about large scale first few games out of the break. Well, Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins, they got their asses kicked, not once, but twice. Washington Capitals, New York Rangers, whoever they were playing out of the break, did not look good for them. A back-to-back to start off out of the Four Nations face-off break, not really that good for this Pittsburgh Penguins team. I kind of tossed and turned looking at this game against the Philadelphia Flyers. And then I realized, this is going to be a popular spot. I think a lot of people are going to like Philadelphia here in this one. But this is a spot I think that I like getting the Pittsburgh Penguins here. Plus 114 is the price I bet this one at. And I feel like the motivation level and the bounce back and just the pride they're going to play with tonight after getting crushed against two divisional teams. Philadelphia is still a rival, still a team in their division, but obviously not nearly as good, I don't think, as the Rangers or the Capitals. So I'll take the dog here with the Pittsburgh Penguins at plus 114 to hopefully get the job done for us and catch a ticket to avoid going 0-3 outside of the Four Nations tournament. That will do it for Puck Time for today. $5 Tuesday, guys. Do us a favor, hit the like button, run it up for us, smash that subscribe button, and comment below what you are betting tonight. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Puck Time.